Hi, my name is Emily Gallion. There were three main things that I really took away from this course in the application and the techniques to use in our ministry. All three of them in for this particular assignment come from Shear's text. The first one is the idea of faith issues when it comes to allowing people into your ministry. That is something that I've never really decided on. It was something that I've really always thought about, but never knew how to address. But Shear makes a point of discussing this issue, particularly in chapter 2. It was something that I always saw two sides of. On one hand, I saw and understood that allowed them to be a part of a ministry and to be able to experience God and maybe even bring them into the church when nothing else was bringing them in. But also, worship is a very important part of a church. It is one of the most important ministries. You are setting the atmosphere for people to be able to experience God in a way that is so intimate. And in order for us to set this atmosphere and invite people in effectively, we have to all be in the same mindset. We all have to have the same goal and the same outcome. And that's quite difficult to do when you have some people who are very involved in their faith and very much a part of the Christian lifestyle and live a Christian lifestyle. And then you have some people who don't, and they live according to what the world says, and they don't live by biblical standards. So he brings up some good points of consideration when you are in the place of, well, do I allow this person to join my team because they have some faith problems that are going on? And the first one that he talks about is, he says, the more focused the position, the more important the faith. I think that is so important, because if you have a person who is going to be leading and up in front every Sunday morning or every service, then it is crucial that they have that intimate connection with God, that they feel His presence, that they can hear His voice, that they can discern what He is saying and what He decides that He wants to do in that service. That is a crucial part. Worship is not an entertainment. It's not up that we get on stage and we just sing pretty songs and we just have fun. Worship, yes, you have fun, but there is a goal for worship. It is not to entertain and make people happy. It is to bring the presence and allow the presence of God to come into the sanctuary for us to prepare our spirit to receive from God. So that is one big thing. Another thing that he talks about is that when allowing somebody, they need to understand that they will be held to the same standard when it comes to lifestyle choices. Whatever standard you hold your worship team to, you need to hold that same person to that standard. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter. If we expect our team to not drink, or if they're single, to not live with their significant other, then I, as the worship leader, expect you, as the worship team member, to abide by those rules the same way. Another one that is huge, I think, that he talks about is the fact of don't make the decision alone. Bring people in. Bring your main pastor in. Get opinions. That is something that I will definitely use in this situation. I don't want to have that decision based all on me and all on my shoulders. It is a huge decision to make, Why make it by yourself? Get other people involved that you trust. The second point that really stood out to me were the interviews and the auditions that he talks about. This is another area where I have always been torn. I didn't know what I believed, what I agreed with, what I did not. So the fact that he specifically talks about this and gives different direction for each one was very beneficial. Because of course, I agree that everybody should worship God. Everybody should have that desire to worship God. But the worship team is to lead. That is your job. Not everybody is called to lead worship. Just like not everybody is called to stand up on the pulpit on Sunday morning and preach God's word, not everybody is called to lead on the worship team. So the audition or the interview or the evaluation process is how we would determine whether this person should be a part of the team or should this person is what they're calling something else. And a big thing with the interview is you need to know your team. You need to know the people who are on your team. If you don't know them, how can you expect to have a good ministry, a good team, if you as the leader don't even know who they are? You don't even know their basics. You don't know their background. You don't know where they grew up. You don't know where they were born. You don't even know their birthday. I mean, just simple things. You need to know your team. So I think that an interview and an evaluation process are vital. One, to get to know your team, and two, to see where they would be a good addition to. What area in the church or what area in the worship ministry would they be vital? How can I help them grow? Do they want to grow? Or are they just here to sing pretty songs? What are they doing? So the interview and audition process is extremely important. The last one that really stood out to me was the rehearsal and the leading and the planning of the worship. Planning is something that has always driven me crazy when it comes to my team. I have to plan out. I have lists galore. I know what I'm doing next week, kind of thing. Like, I know without a shadow of a doubt what I am doing. So, in our team, many times, we do not know the set list for Sunday morning until day of rehearsal, Wednesday. We normally do not know what that set list is until Wednesday afternoon. Rehearsal is Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. So there is no time for us to rehearse at home to be able to get harmonies or for our band to be able to learn the chords and the transitions in a way that allows us to have a successful rehearsal. So the planning process is extremely important. And because there's not enough planning involved, it affects your rehearsal. If you don't have the right keys in Planning Center, then your team, if they even did practice the completely wrong thing, and now they have to relearn an entire new chord chart and new transitions and everything like that. So it causes many delays and problems within the rehearsal itself. So in my own ministry, following the timeline that Sheer gives us in his book is definitely something that I will follow. 6 months in advance, we're working on set lists. Like, you should have your 2 weeks of set lists already out in advance. That way, your team is already in its preparation process. When you have a schedule and something like this in place where it's already planned out and your team already knows, then it eliminates all confusion and it eliminates all of the constant questions that you get of the same thing. What's the set list for next week? When will we get it? What's the key? If there is a consistency, then they know what to expect, and it alleviates stress for everybody. This class has been such a blessing to me in showing me what to expect in different areas of the worship ministry and how to address certain things that are not communicated with. So I thank you, and God bless.